to the Magpies collection. ASMR. And happy Pride Month. Happy Pride. For Pride Month, I wanted to share one of my favorite books in my collection. This is Clare de Lune, a collection of Troubador romances from the Renaissance. It was published in the 19-teens with these beautiful illustrations in illuminated manuscript style by Evelyn Paul. And in particular, I wanted to read to you the story of Sir Hugh, which is a tale of the love of two knights and their devotion and patience and forgiveness. This is a story of friendship, Sir Hugh, he sings, since you bade me make you gay with tales of knights upon their way, tales of noble chivalry, love and fight and faery. Shall I tell a tale to you of a friendship leal and true, how two loved as brothers dear all the time that they were here, in this world of weary woe, since that God would have it so. For friendship is the only thing that cheers an old man's heart to sing. Thought of friends of yesterday can make any mortal gay, then bring more wine and let's away. He tells the tale. There was a certain knight called Sir who had two squires, Sir Philip and Sir Hugh. And Sir Philip was squire of the bedchamber, and Sir Hugh was squire of the table, and carved his before his master at supper. And he was a very lusty squire, and loved jousting with the stump, and playing with the sapling, and laughed greatly when it came back and smote him. And moreover, he was very winsome to the ladies, for his cloak was ever of the richest stuff, and a feather in his cap as long as his scabbard. And he loved Sir Philip exceedingly, and Sir Philip loved him, so that they would never be parted. And when the time came that they should be dubbed knights, they were very sad, for they knew that it would not be long ere they should go different ways, and mayhap never see each other more. And they kept vigil together over their arms on the same night in the chapel, and neither said aught, but prayed that he might be a good knight and true, and serve the ladies and his lord honorably and well, and never speak aught roughly, and be continent, and not consort with low people, but be honest and staid and chaste, by Jesus Christ their Lord, that he would help them in their arms. And when it was almost morning, and the light in the windows was faint and grey, Sir Hugh turned to Sir Philip and said, Dear cause, it is Ruth that we must part. And he said, It is Ruth indeed. And Sir Hugh set his hand in his and said, Swear now that thou wilt meet me in 5 years at the oak tree beyond the park, where the roads meet. And he said, I will be there. And Sir Hugh said, And I be alive, I will meet thee there. And if I be not there, know that thou hast a friend in heaven. And he said, If that be so, then let Jesus take me there also, that I may meet thee there. And when it was morning, they went out, and were knights. And Sir Philip went to wars in Palestine to serve God's cause, and he came back thence and stayed in his castle with the maid, Lady Flora's sister true, and betrothed to Sir Hugh. And the years went on their ways, slipping into yesterdays. Yuletide come and Yuletide gone, swift and slow the time moved on, till the day was nigh that he should meet Sir Hugh beneath the tree. And Sir Philip bade farewell to his sister Lady Florence, and put on his armour, and took his shield, and mounted his horse Wincelot, and went forth. And he came to the tree, and it was early morning, and there was none there. And he waited till midday, and none came. And when it was evening, he was sad, and went home, and he said, Yet he is not dead, else am I left lonely. And Lady Flores, what shall become of her? And he prayed that he might be told whether he was still alive. And St. Joseph came to him and said, Sir Hugh is alive, but I may not tell thee more than that. And the next year he went and waited till evening. And when evening came, he said, Perchance last year he came in the night, and finding none there, passed on his way. And he waited till it was midnight, and none came. And he went home, and St. Joseph said, Nay, he is not dead. And yet the third year he went, and waited all day, until evening, until midnight. And at midnight he said, Perchance he came in the turning of the night, and I was not there, and he passed by. And so he set down his arms, and kept watch over them. And when the light in the sky was faint and grey, he heard one come behind him, and he prayed, O God, grant that it be Sir Hugh, for I am yearning for his face. And he durst not turn, lest it should not be he. And he prayed, Grant that it be Sir Hugh, for his eyes are life to me, and I long for the warmth of his hand, and I am yearning for him. And yet he durst not turn, and he said aloud, O grant that it be Sir Hugh. And he waited, and he heard the other come near, and he felt him gaze upon him. And after a while he heard him turn as to go away, and he leapt up and cried, O friend! But it was a beggar, and he sank down, and he said, He is dead. Sir Hugh is dead. And at last the beggar came near and said, Sir, dost thou seek for Sir Hugh? And he said, What dost thou know of him? Is he dead? And he said, Not dead, but thou wilt never find him, and God forbid that thou shouldst find him. Then Sir Philip took his shield, and his bright brand great to wield, set his casque upon his head, lifted up his hand, and said, By St. Joseph, ere I die, under earth or sea or sky, I will find my comrade true, who with me to knighthood grew. Bid Floris no more attend my coming, I will seek my friend Sir Hugh to the world's end. And he came to the knight of the realm, and asked him if he had known of a knight Sir Hugh at his court, the fairest knight that ever he saw, bearing a Troubador couchant on a field of green. And he said, Nay, but mayhap he has been to the court of the Duke Francis. And he came to the Duke Francis, and he knew not of him. And he went to all the other dukes, and they knew not. And he came to the marquises and the knights of the shires, and they knew not. And as he rode in at the court of Sir Malvivant, it was so that they had great revel then, yet it was not an high day. And he came to the knight, and inquired of him of Sir Hugh, and he laughed loud, and said, I had rather asked of thee where he is. For a long time he was here, and never was a braver knight or freer with his purse. But it is a long time since he went from us. And all the ladies laughed when they heard the name, and were merry to each other. And he would not stay, but went forth quickly. And it was so that at last he chanced to come near again to the castle of Sir de Gruel, unto whom he had been squire. And as he went on his way, the day was exceeding hot, so that the iron of his spear grew too hot for the hand, and his horse was very weary. And he came to a town, and there bade gave his horse water and rest, and bring him also a cup of wine. And when the wine was brought, he asked whether they had ever seen a knight, namely Sir Hugh, pass their way. And they laughed and called to each other, Behold, here is one who doth not know Sir Hugh, for he was a merry knight, and paid more into this town than all the rest pay out in a year. Yet there were many, quoth another, that are as fain as thou art to see his face. For when he went, he paid but little, such doings may not last forever. And in the next town they knew him not at all, save one, and he said that he knew not whether it was Sir Hugh, but there was one poorly clad of the name of Hugh that came that way. Yet he trowed that he was no true knight, for he had neither horse nor armour. And Sir Philip said, Yet did he bide with thee? The other man said, Yea, and at the year's end he did say that he had matter of great import to go on. Yet when the morning came, he said he thought otherwise, and that he would not go. And he spoke little of that day. And it was so on the next year, and after that he constrained to go, for he had no money, and I am but a poor man, and I know not whither he went. And so the knight turned home at last, yet as his castle gates he passed, lo, the same beggar standing there, with soiled weeds and tangled hair, as he had seen since years full 3 that came to him beneath the tree. And he said, Sir beggar, well, of my sorrow didst thou tell. It is grief unto my mind that I my friend cannot find, for men told me certainly that he had sore need of me. And the beggar said, Good Sir Knight, it is indeed so that thou wouldst see his face again. And he said, Yea, and I would give all that I have in the world. And he said, Yet was he an evil knight? And he said, Then had he the more need of me, if he were in evil case. For a friend is but little if he befriend only in good success, and nothing in adversity. And the beggar said, If thou wilt give me arms and a good horse, within 3 years I will find thy Sir Hugh for thee, so that thou pledge me thy word, none watch me as I go forth, nor none come to me with mine armour. And he said, If thou canst bring him back, I will do as thou say. And he gave him arms. And the years went on their ways, slipping into yesterdays. Yuletide come and Yuletide gone, swift and slow the time moved on. And so it was that on a time came the ruler of that clime, passing by that way and sent, asking entertainment. And Sir Philip in his house held great banquet and carouse, dance and jest and high jousting in the honour of the king. And as the king sat in the chamber after the feast was done, he said unto Sir Philip, Sir Knight, thou hast a fair sister indeed, and it is a pity that there is no man that doth wed her. For now the time dries on apace, and what is a maid when she is old and hath no husband? And he said, Sir, an she were left to wed, I would make no demur. Yea, in truth, she had one that she would fain have wedded, but he is gone these many years. And the knight said, Make no delay, but bid hold joust for her, for the dead are dead and gone. And if they be not dead, then will they come and claim her. And he could not go against the will of the king. So many knights came, and many were overthrown, and yet as many were conquerors, till at last they were but 12 knights left. And on the last day of the tourney, these 12 should reign who should have the lady to wife. And when the morning came, the lists were decked as bright as hedgerows in the month of May, and every knight was in readiness and very eager. And the trumpets sounded, and 2 rode forth to contend. And as they set their spears in rest, they rode in one and all black, and the image on his shield black upon black, so that it could not be seen what it was. And as they were about to run against each other, he cried, Ho! Come now, both of you, and joust against me for the lady. And he came, and he overthrew both of them. And 2 others came, and he overthrew them. And he cried, Come now, all of you that are left, as ye will, and contend with me for the lady. And he was like a black wolf in a fold of sheep. And all said, Verily, there was never a braver knight. And some said that it was Julius Caesar come again, and others said it was King Arthur, for surely this was no mortal knight. And Lady Florence was very sad, for she said, I care not whom I wed, since he that I would have is gone. when she looked on the black knight, she said, "In truth, I never saw so brave a knight, for he fight as though he were woed." And her lady said, "An he be mortal, he must be some fierce lover, for none could fight so unless he loved dearly indeed." And she said, "He is a marvellous knight," and knew not what to think. And when she looked up, they were all overthrown, and the black knight stood alone in the midst of the lists. And he came to her and spake, "Sweet lady, since that thou dost not know me, God forbid that I should force myself upon thee, for it is not well to be betrothed unto a man thou knowest not. For there was of late a youth that was betrothed unto a lady that knew him not, and he fell into evil ways. Never is it well to be friend unto one that thou knowest not, and if I wed thee, I should be his brother also. For ye know not who I am, neither if I be rich or poor, and I were a beggar ye would not know me, neither will I raise my visor that ye may see. Therefore, lady, tell me now, and now also, Sir Knight, whether thou wilt choose me or let me go. And I be a fair knight in your eyes, choose, and if I be not, let me go." And Sir Philip cried, "Sir Knight, there was never a knight so bold save one, and since he is not, surely I can choose none better than thee to be my friend." And the Lady Flores was sad, and she said, "Sir Knight, truly thou art a rich knight, and a fair knight, even though we have not seen thy face. And truly thou art a bold knight, for we have seen thy deeds. Never was there so bold a knight. Yet doth not marriage go by boldness, neither by riches nor by fairness, but by love. For if one as rich and as fair and as bold as the king himself here should bid me wed him, yet would I demur. But an he whom I loved were a beggar at the gate and bade me wed him, I should say, 'Sir, I am ready.' Therefore, unless he whom I love come back from the grave, I shall never wed until I go to him, where there is no wedding but true friendship only, and love." And her brother said, "It is so." And the Black Knight said, "Sweet lady, look upon my face." And it was Sir Hugh. And when Sir Philip looked on him, knew then he that it had been the beggar indeed. Yet said he nothing till they were in the hall together, when the fire was low and all things were told, and old loves are made new again as the logs burn down upon the hearth. And thus the tale is told, hi-ho, a foolish, mournful tale, but so this world doth go. For I would fain have made you glad with merry stories as ye had, and now I have but made you sad, hi-ho. Yet was the ending well, ye say, but neither hath my heart been gay, since mine own brother went away, long, long ago, hi-ho. For I have known a friendship true, and I have known a fair Sir Hugh, and I have loved and lost him too, long, long ago, hi-ho. But so this world doth go. Thank you for listening to the Tale of Sir Hugh, and I wish you all a very happy